Hello and welcome back to my channel Skincare Simplified. My name is Dr. Chizo. I'm a skincare enthusiast. I have over 20 years experience managing both my cystic acne and managing the skin of my clients or my patients as well. Today we're going to be talking about sunscreen, and it's one of the topics that I get the greatest pushback from, especially for those of us with melanated skin. So let's get into it. So when we're dealing with sunscreen, or when we want to talk about sunscreen, I think the first thing that we need to know is that exposure to sunlight is the primary cause of aging. It's one of the major causes of all the skincare conditions that we have, hyperpigmentation, fine lines, and wrinkles. So why wouldn't you want to prevent any of that? So whenever you go into the sun, there are two main rays that you're exposed to. You're exposed to UVA rays, which causes aging, and UVB rays, which cause burning. And those are the two most talked about skincare issues that I found. Number one, hyperpigmentation caused by the B rays, and number two, fine lines and wrinkles, which are caused by the A rays. So if you want to deal with your skincare issues, or you have any skincare challenges, one of the first steps that you need to take is just wear your sunscreen. So let's talk about what an SPF is. If you've looked at any skincare bottle, you would have seen the letters SPF, and what they essentially mean are sun protection factor. So the level of the number on the SPF tells you how much protection you're going to get from that sunscreen, and the SPF typically relates to the UVB rays. So it's telling you how much that sunscreen is going to protect you from UVB rays. So that's what SPF means. Now, when it comes to SPF, the minimum that we're looking for is 30. Anything less than that, and you might as not well be wearing the sunscreen. So always look for an SPF of 30 and above. That's what we're looking for. Now, because SPF refers particularly to UVB rays, whenever you're looking to get a sunscreen, it needs to say broad spectrum, and that will tell you that it's going to protect you both from UVA rays or UVB rays. Alternatively, you're going to see the words UVA, UVB on the bottle, and that will also tell you that it's going to protect you from both UVA rays and UVB rays. There are three main types of sunscreens. There is a physical sunscreen, there's a chemical sunscreen, and then there's a mix. A physical sunscreen typically is made from zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, and they actually have a physical filter that blocks the sun's rays. A chemical sunscreen is one that contains all the others, so things like Heloplex, ovobenzone, olicylate. All these other products are seen in a chemical sunscreen. The third one is a combination, so it will have either a combination of zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, and all the components of a physical sunscreen. And the reason that they do that is so that you have the maximum protection. So the main difference between a chemical and a physical sunscreen is the appearance on your skin when you apply them. A physical sunscreen, just like it says, tends to give you a white cast. However, in recent times, because of scientific developments, they have been able to make physical sunscreens into nanoparticles, so they are not as visible on your skin, while chemical sunscreen, because they're just organic matter, are going to apply really nicely and blend into your skin, so you're not going to have that white cast on them. So what do you need to look for in a sunscreen? It's really easy. The first thing you need to look for in a sunscreen is the SPF number. It needs to say it has an SPF of 30 and above. Anything lower than an SPF of 30, quite frankly, is a waste of time, especially if you're living in the tropics. For those of us who are living in the tropics, I would even recommend you look for an SPF of 50 and above to make sure that you're getting the maximum protection, because the sun intensity is really high here. The second thing you need to look for is whether it is broad spectrum or not. Now, broad spectrum means that it protects you from both UVA rays and UVB rays. There is almost no point in using a sunscreen that is not broad spectrum. So you're going to be prevented from burning, but your skin is still going to age. Okay, so a broad spectrum sunscreen protects you from both UVA rays and UVB rays. It might also say UVA and UVB on the bottle. That is extremely important. And then the third and final thing is the type of sunscreen it is. It might either be a physical or mineral sunscreen, or it will be a chemical sunscreen. Most of the physical sunscreens are the ones that actually say so on the bottle. It will say physical sunscreen or mineral sunscreen, while the rest of them are chemical sunscreens, and it will literally just list the product that it contains. Usually the most common one is Heluplex. Okay, so it's a question of pick your poison. Which one do you prefer? If you like a physical sunscreen, go for a physical sunscreen. If you prefer a chemical sunscreen, go for a chemical sunscreen. Now the only caveat is that for people who have more sensitive skin, physical sunscreens tend to work better for them, while chemical sunscreens can be a little bit irritating. Otherwise, pick the one that you like. So let's talk about how much sunscreen you need. Now, after you've chosen your sunscreen, after you've picked the one that you want, another thing that is extremely important is making sure that you have the right quantity of sunscreen, because if you do not apply enough, you're not going to get the maximum protection that you need. Let's start with the face. You need 2 finger lengths of sunscreen for your face and for your neck, and this also needs to be reapplied every 2 to 3 hours. So for the rest of your body, you need the equivalent of a shot glass filled with sunscreen to cover the rest of your body. Now I know most of us don't have a shot glass, and most of us are not going to be decanting sunscreen into a shot glass to put it on our body. So here's an easy way to look at it. You can divide your body into these different sections, and for each of those sections you use 2 finger lengths of sunscreen. Your arms get 2 finger lengths of sunscreen, your torso gets, the front of your torso gets 2, the back gets 2, your legs get 2. So 2 finger lengths of sunscreen is a good way to go. If you look at the way that your body is broken down in these quadrants, and you apply those 2 finger lengths of sunscreen to each of those sections, then you're good to go. And then finally, the last thing that I usually get is, how do I reapply my sunscreen? I have makeup on, I'm out during the day. What should I do? What should I do? The easiest way for you to reapply your sunscreen is to get a sunscreen spray. Get a sunscreen spray. Sprays, do at least 4 different passes on your skin, even if you're wearing makeup, and that will allow you to get the benefit. I must say that when you're reapplying your sunscreen, especially when you're using a spray sunscreen, you need to really make sure that you get in there. Otherwise, you're not going to be properly covered, because for you to get the maximum benefit, you're actually supposed to rub it in. But I know you have makeup on, so make sure that you get the spray in there, spray it properly, and then you're going to get the best results. The other thing that you can do is to use a sunscreen stick. Again, apply all over your face or any of the exposed areas. Make sure that you're doing that, and make sure you get at least 4 passes over your face or the areas that is exposed, to make sure that you have adequate protection. Now this is for those of us who wear makeup and are out and about during the day. Now for the rest of you, if you're not wearing makeup, you get your sunscreen lotion, you slather it on, and then you keep on moving. The most important thing is that try to do this every 2 to 3 hours for you to get the maximum amount of protection, because sunscreen does break down over the course of the day. And then finally, let's talk about sunscreen tips. Sunscreen is always the last step in your skincare routine. It doesn't come before the moisturizer, it comes after. It's the last step in your skincare routine, and then you can do your makeup. Number 2, do not dilute your sunscreen. Don't. Otherwise, you're not going to be getting the protection that is on the bottle. Sunscreen is classified almost as a drug. Please do not dilute it. And don't forget areas like your ears, your neck. Those are places that are exposed and very easy to forget. So that's all, folks. If you have any questions, put them down below. I'm going to give you a list of the sunscreens that I like and that I enjoy that don't give me a white cast. Feel free to list the sunscreens that are your favorite so that I can also test them out as well. Okay, bye-bye.